Hey guys, so I'm creating my own media network over on patreon.com. The link's in the description down below. It's going to be full of original content like new episodes, new YouTube videos of Get to Know the Pro, as well as the new Get to Know the Pro podcast where I extract the audio from the old episodes and the new episodes so you can listen to them while you're out there getting after it, mowing lawns, landscaping, plowing, snow, whatever you guys are doing out there, so you can still get that valuable content. I'm also going to be putting together some popular topics like time management and how to go full-time in lawn care and landscaping that was common themes in different videos of Get to Know the Pro in the past. There's also going to be video tips on there that I upload about different business tips and what I've done over the last 7+ years that I've been full-time in lawn care and how I grew my business, and different tips and tricks I learned along the way from my peers and mentors from social media and locally. As well as there's going to be a Facebook group, a private Facebook group that you can only access through Patreon for all of you guys to get together, talk, share ideas, ask questions, judgment-free, no dislikes or mean, hateful comments, none of that kind of stuff. So this way you can just be free to say whatever you want in the group so that we can all grow together. So go ahead and check that out so we can keep growing our business and we can keep moving forward together, because together we're stronger. So there's already tons of great content on there, so go ahead and check that out. Again, click the link below in the description and be a Rookie for Life member. So when I first started lawn care, my first full-time season, we won't even talk about part-time because that was just totally new, just, a half a dozen yards, just trying to do whatever I could while I was working full-time to try and just see if this is something I wanted to make a go of. But my first year full-time, I'm lucky if I ended up with $10,000 after everything was said and done. I helped get bills paid for my family and a ton of business expenses. So, I made a lot more than $10,000 in top line revenue. If I had to guess, it was probably like maybe 40 or 50,000. But with all the expenses for that first year, I purchased a mower, my 48-inch belt drive walk behind mower that I still have to this day. I purchased a 5x10 open trailer, which I sold eventually to get my enclosed trailer, my 7x16 enclosed trailer. I traded in my Jeep Compass for my F-150, but they actually ended up giving me a check for $600 at the Ford dealer because it was such a good deal and the Jeep was, worth so much at that point in comparison. But I had to do all those different transitions, all those things. I lucked out I didn't have to pay for storage. The first several years, I just backed my trailer into my garage and just unhooked it, and that was it. So that was like my shop, right? A lot of us do that because I couldn't park on the street in the neighborhood that I lived in, and still to this day I can't, even though I'm in a different neighborhood. It's the same rules apply. I also bought a trimmer and just tons of miscellaneous expenses, right? Gas, oil, all the different maintenance and things for that. I didn't even buy racks for my stuff, for my trimmer and blower and all that. I just made them out of wood. I made wooden racks that gave me a lot of attention back when I first started YouTube, and that was like literally the first video that I put out there was my setup, my lawn care setup, and it showed my trailer with the wood sides, and it showed the wood racks that I made for my trimmers. And well, I only had one trimmer at the time, but I had space to add more trimmers, and blower, my backpack blower, and I even figured out a way to lock it. So like Green Touch, eat your heart out, right? No, I love Green Touch. I have all Green Touch racks. But at the time, I didn't even know what Green Touch even was. A lot of stuff I saved money in those situations. And in case you're curious, I'll put that video up at the end of this one. It's a classic. I don't even think I show my face on the video. So, but anyway, it's still a good setup for those people that are thinking of ways to save some money and get creative when they're first starting out. It still applies to this day. At that time, I was just spending so much money putting everything right back into the business that I barely had anything left over at the end of the year. And one of the biggest reasons why was because I was spending so much time doing everything. I was driving all over town. I was doing every little side job, every little odd job that you could call landscaping or lawn care. I was jumping on it, I was just trying to get money going, trying to get my business name out there, trying to just get my feet wet and learn and just keep trying new things. But at the same time, I wasn't really making any money. I was bringing money in, top line revenue, but all the expenses, because what I was getting was all these jobs I didn't have the right equipment for, or whatever, that the right setup, and it just ended up being such a big headache. I ended up spending so much money, like every job that I would get, like, oh, I got to do a mulch job. Well, I can only put a couple yards in my 5x10 trailer. So now what do I do? Oh, let me rent a bigger trailer. Okay, that was a big expense. I found a trailer rental place not too far from me, which is clutch, but I spent a lot of money over that year renting a big landscape trailer so I could, put a ton of mulch in there. I was able to put like 4 or 5 yards of mulch in there, and my F-150 could barely pull it all, like up a hill anyway. But I mean, I was doing whatever I could do, and I was just constantly spending money because I was doing a little bit of everything. I was getting loppers, getting hedge trimmers, getting this, getting that, getting tarps, getting wheelbarrows, getting rakes, getting shovels. People asking me if I can rip out bushes, so I'm getting a pickmatic, not a pickaxe. A Pigmatic. Anyway, another little quick tip. Paul Jameson, shout out to Paul Jameson, Green Industry Podcast. He's always like, man, Naylor always teaches me something every time I see him. He's giving me some random little fun fact. But so that's another one for you. I was using a Pigmatic. That's normally what you see in the stores, not a pickaxe. An axe is an axe, like this. A Pigmatic is like this. But look it up, Google it. Anyway, back on track. All these things added up. I mean, okay, a rake, a shovel, those things are like 20 bucks here, 40 bucks there. A Pigmatic, maybe 40, 50 bucks. Wheelbarrow, 60, 80, 100 bucks. I mean, depending on the size, obviously, but this stuff just adds up and adds up and adds up. And I was getting it all in 1 year because I was just doing all this stuff. My garage was getting stuffed full with all these things. It was just crazy my first year. So I just made no money. And quickly, or very minimal money, $10,000 left over, like profit really isn't a whole lot. I mean, that was my salary. $10,000 was my salary. Going from retail management, which was 8 times that, and here I am, like doing something I love and enjoy, which was better than suffering and going through what I was going through. I was improving my quality of life immediately from controlling my own destiny, not having all these horrible bosses breathing down my throat, making me stay late, writing me up, all this stuff, and going from one company to another company thinking that's the answer. I fixed all of that, and I was happy in that regard. I got my time back. I was able to manage my own time, spend time with my family, go mountain bike riding, do different things that I wanted to do that I never had time to do, and so on. And the whole time doing stuff I enjoyed doing, which is lawn care / landscaping. But I really truly enjoy lawn care over landscaping. So that's what it really came down to, because, yes, I was enjoying myself, but at the end of the day, I need to be able to support my family financially, not just mentally and physically and emotionally by being there and being in a happier mood. So $10,000 salary just not going to cut it. So, I mean, something had to change. I thought to myself, okay, yeah, obviously if I increase revenue, then that's going to increase my salary, right? Well, not if my expenses also keep increasing. You've got to increase that deficit. You got to lower your expenses while increasing your revenue, your top line sales. So right around that time when I was thinking like, man, I just need to, one, do what I really truly love, which is lawn care. Let me focus on lawn care and kind of get away from the whole landscaping. I'll put another video up at the end that I talked about this, lawn care versus landscaping, another OG video. The bottom line is I needed to trim the fat. I really needed to focus on what I was good at, what I enjoyed, and specialize in that. Some people call it, niching down, finding your niche. And basically it's just focusing on one thing or certain things and not spreading yourself thin, taking on too much. You can always add more on. It's hard to take it off, because once people know you can kind of do all these things and you're like, yeah, I don't do that anymore, that's fine. You can say that, but at the same time, it's like, oh, like it's just a different perception than saying, hey, I can do this now. People get excited about that versus saying, hey, I'm sorry, I don't do this anymore. But even if you refer someone else or whatever, it's still a different feeling, right? Hey, I can't do this anymore, but here's someone that can. Oh, Okay, well, you've done it all this time, it's just a totally different feeling than, hey, by the way, I can do this now. Oh, great. You do a great job at this and that. So why not? Thanks. Yeah. Sign us up. Like that's really that's kind of like the mental difference there. So I really just wanted to quickly narrow everything down and focus on lawn care, focus on route density, meaning I'm in the same neighborhoods, close together, not driving all over town anymore. And right around that same time that I was having this thought process, I stumbled upon an author, Mike Michalowicz, who came out with The Profit First around that time, but he had also had other books prior to that, The Toilet Paper Entrepreneur and The Pumpkin Plan, which is more specific to what I'm talking about, which is niching your business and focusing on one pumpkin versus the whole crop. So like, the pumpkin plan, just to sum up the book, but he does a much better job really spelling it out. So I recommend looking into that book and reading it or listening to an audio book while you're working, however you want to consume that. I'd say it is a great book. And Mike Michalowicz is a great author, and he narrates his own books, and he always throws in some side stuff and it makes it fun, and he's a funny guy in general. And the pumpkin plan really helped me. Like, it reassured me of what I was already starting to do, and even some people around me were like, really? Shouldn't you be taking on everything? Don't you just want to make money? I mean, you need to pay bills. But they just didn't really get it, right? And that was a tough time for me too, because I'm like, I'm putting my head down. I knew like what needed to be done, and what I was doing wasn't working, and it was going to continue to not work, and I was just going to get more stressed out, and I was going to go down a path similar to where I was in retail, where I just wasn't happy. So I needed to quickly do what I knew was the right thing to do. And it was great to read or listen to The Pumpkin Plan, because it basically reassured all of that, and how, when you're trying to grow the biggest, baddest pumpkin, when you have like, the pumpkin fairs or competitions or whatever, they're actually a real thing. The winner of that, he interviewed like the winner of, either he's a continual winner or one of the winners or whatever, but he interviewed the biggest pumpkin grower. He interviewed him, and basically he just said that, he's got a huge pumpkin patch and he nurtures them all the same, but as soon as he sees potential in one of them, like one pumpkin starts growing bigger than all the rest, faster and looking healthier, he immediately stops caring about every other pumpkin and just focuses on that one pumpkin. And he puts all the attention and nurturing that he used to have, that he had spread out onto the whole pumpkin patch. Now it's all focused on that one pumpkin. And that's how he ends up growing this massive pumpkin, because he's putting all of his attention on the pumpkin. I mean, it's brilliant. I feel like I did a pretty good job actually summing that up. I mean, sorry, Mike, but your book is still great, and everyone should still read or listen to your book, because it's fantastic. I just gave you this super short cliff notes, but that's ultimately kind of a glimpse into what it means to niche down into your business, to specialize in something, put all of your energy and attention into something, or one thing, or a couple of things. And when I started doing that, that's when things transitioned. That's when I started seeing the deficit grow in between expenses and top line revenue. So in between is your profit. So I saw my profit getting bigger and bigger and bigger as I focused more, narrower on what services I wanted to offer, got my pricing down, got all the right equipment that I needed. Finally, everything's paid off. I mean, early at that point, there's always going to be new expenses, right? Equipment breaks down, or, mowers get old, you need a new one, whatever it is, a new truck, new trailer, whatever. You grow, things break. That's just part of business. But I just mean, I just stopped doing all of the things that I was doing, like purchasing things for all different jobs and all that. Just really focused on, trying to minimize all of that, and until I had the right setup for the right services in the right neighborhoods with the right clients, priced right. I did all of that, and over the years, I'd say about 5 years, I was able to hit over 100,000. And that didn't come easy. That came with a lot of hard work, and most of that was solo. But I really didn't hit that 100,000 mark until I started hiring a couple of part-timers, like super part-time, just working a couple of days a week for like 6 or 7 hours with me, and we got a lot done. And then I would drop them off, and I would go, treat yards, whatever, aerate and seed, whatever time of the year it was. They would help me, trim shrubs and stuff throughout the season, and spread mulch, all that. So all the real labor intensive stuff that would take me forever, we were able to get that done a lot quicker. So it was definitely useful to have them. And I was able to see how fast we could get things done and how much more work I could do. But even still, had I not done everything that I just explained in this video prior to that, I would be all over the place. I would probably be all messed up in payroll, wouldn't be paying my employees the right prices, wouldn't know how to schedule them, wouldn't know what jobs to take on and not take on, wouldn't know what the most effective way to execute these jobs. I'd probably frustrate my employees. It'd just be a lot of wasted payroll, a lot of wasted resources, a lot of extra expenses. But even if you're solo, you can get to 100,000 if you price things right and you have the right services, and you're in good health, and you maybe don't have a wife and multiple children that depend on you for a lot of things that take a lot of your time away. So if you're just like a single solo guy or girl out there, you could really get after it, like all day every day, or 5-6 days a week, and just make 100,000, especially if you throw snow in there depending on where you live. So it's not impossible by any means. There's always a ceiling, right? In order to get past that, you have to do certain things, like take on employees, more work, and so on. And then you can add on more services. So that's how my business has fluctuated from year 1 to now year 7. And I'm still focused on route density, huge growth in certain neighborhoods all surrounding each other, so we're not driving all over the place. I mean, we spend one day in one neighborhood, one day in another neighborhood, and so on. It's the most profitable setup for mowing, for lawn maintenance, because the margins aren't super high. We're not installing patios and things like that have a higher profit margin, higher markups and all that, where you can afford to drive a little bit further out. We're just talking about mowing someone's lawn, so we want to be as tight and as close as possible. So we're just boom, 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 zipping along, knocking them out, making them look great, moving on to the next one. But I also do some landscape maintenance, so it's still maintenance, but it's landscape for the clients that I currently have for mowing. So you either have to be a mowing customer or a treatment customer, or both, in order for us to trim your shrubs, refresh your mulch every year. Aeration and seeding, obviously, that's an add-on regardless of what you're doing, if you're a mowing client or a treatment client. If you're a treatment client, typically you're getting aeration and seeding, but even if you're not, a lot of times people still get it when they're just a mowing client. So those are services that keep us busy throughout the whole year, in addition to just mowing, which is the bulk of the year. But before and after and even during the mowing season, we're still doing those add-on services that I did a lot of that in the beginning, and I was scattered all over the place, and I just said, let's just stop, let's cut that down, reduce it, like I said, focus on lawn care, I'll get my fertilization license, all that stuff, and then just start growing that in a tight route, small, reduced area, so I'm not driving all over the place, and then grow from there. Obviously, we keep growing into different neighborhoods that are still close together. You just grow and grow and grow. Just wanted to give a shout out to Service Autopilot. I have been using them as a software, as a CRM for all of my invoicing, estimating, emailing, and so much more. Super comprehensive software system for my business. I've been using it for over a year. It's been a game changer for me. I've used several other softwares prior to Service Autopilot, and I have to say that so far this is the most comprehensive that I've used. It's a great program. Go ahead and check the link out in the description. If you don't know anything about Service Autopilot or you want to learn more about it, go ahead and click on that link and check it out. It'll help support this channel as well as help grow your business.